Welcome back to FFB Amigos, and today we're talking about Man United Brighton. Honestly, here's the proof. I'm watching Goldbridge. I'm starting this video before the match ends because I know how it's going to end. This is my second attempt, and so I'm going to call it, and Brighton have won this match 3-1. And this is how I lived through this game. Let me turn down Goldbridge a little bit. First of all, my first thing that comes to mind when I see it is that Brighton, as we all know, is a nice little balanced team. They always find good new players to bring in. They're very impressive, and I'm worried for Manchester United before the game even starts. And I see that there's players in Brighton that, when this is not something you would normally say. Manchester United fans, you have to wrap your head around who you are now. Well, let's not be that aggressive as who you are, but where you are and where you've been for a long time. Because sometimes you've got the pride of this historic, amazing team that should be winning championships, but you're so far from that my point being, there's many Brighton players that would start at United, or players that you would at least want, and even in the bench, players like Enciso. I'm sure Man United would love to have Enciso on their team and probably starting. And then obviously players like Mitoma, and without having a left back at all, Estupiñán would start in Manchester United. So you're in trouble there when you have those thoughts at a team like United. In any case, at the beginning of the game, United starts very poorly. Brighton's center back plays a long ball in behind United's defense, and Mitoma makes an amazing run to put the ball in, and Mente slots it in. Brighton 1-0. 4 minutes in, you're in trouble. Fortunately, like minute 19, Xerxes gains a little bit of a penalty. Some people thought it was a soft penalty. It was a penalty nonetheless, and Bruno Fernandes, one of the best penalty takers probably out there, makes sure that he gets the goal for United. So that's not a terrible thing. And during this, I'm hearing, because I'm zapping through the different fan channels and match reaction channels, and a lot of people, I see that a lot of fans have been criticizing Manu, which I think generally Manchester United fans are being too tough on their players. You can't ask more of certain players. This kid is 19 years old in a position that requires usually a lot of football IQ experience and knowledge, and like this sort of DM role. And I think he's doing great, actually, for his age. Actually, who should be playing there is Casemiro, right? And the fact that how poor is that guy that a 19-year-old is taking his spot. And, it always comes up with Manchester United, and something similar we have in Chelsea. So let me make the comparison here about this. You're like these younger players, or because anybody that, not only young in age, but in Premier League experience, is coming through, which is a lot of what you have in United. And they say, you always think about your Scholes and your Giggs and all that. These young guys that came through, and let's play the academy guys, because that'll solve it. Yeah, but who did those guys play with, man? You had your Cantonas and all these amazing players in the team that they learned from, that transitioned with a Roy Keane that served as a bridge between that old, really tough team that was already a winning team under Sir Alex Ferguson into the young one. When they said that they can't win anything with young kids, yeah, they were right, because it wasn't all young kids like Chelsea. And Chelsea has the same problem, where who are these guys going to lean on, these young up-and-coming players? Who are they going to learn from? You need that in the field, and yes, you have Bruno, but that's about it, and that's a little bit tough. But in any case, going back into the game, and this is to speak to another young one, which is Xerxes. I think he played a good first half, but he's like a cell phone in a plane, no service. I think he got one tough half chance the whole game. I think there was 2 chances created, period. United don't create anything. So it's really hard for him, but his hold-up play was good. He was doing decent runs. That's about what you can ask for. But in any case, in the 42nd minute, Brighton should have scored. And at the end of the first half, those are my notes, right? Brighton started better, 2 strong attacks in the goal. In the first 4 minutes of the game, United got back in the game, but undeservedly in the terms of open play. The penalty was a penalty, but not with the run against the run of play, because United really wasn't doing anything. And as a matter of fact, United should have been losing that first half. Brighton should have scored at least 2 goals. They did have a chance, like I said, again. Welbeck had another chance in the 42nd minute. Anyway, second half, same thing. United starts poor. Brighton creates danger from a set piece. And Joao Pedro does brilliantly. That play was kind of unlucky for them too, because if you notice, he did something interesting. And this is what I love about the tough nine and battling with the defenders. The United line pushes forward when the free kick is taken, when the set piece is taken. But Joao Pedro puts his body right in front of the defender that's trying to come out, stretching that offside line just a little bit, would actually place him and 2 other Brighton players on side, because that player can't come off on the line without fouling, right? Just on strength. And then when there's a rebound, he's quicker than the others to react. He's faster to react. He's stronger than his defender, and takes in a chance and scores. But unfortunately for Van Henk, which is the guy, he actually ended up kicking. I think it was Delo, in a little fight for the ball. And and they're lucky, because that could have been a goal there as well. 60th minute, Brighton makes it 2-1. It's a great cross that finds Mitoma, who turns into, I don't know, man, Robin van Persie or something, and he just does like throws his body completely just to edge out the defender really close to the post, taking that risk as a 9 would do. Slots it in, 2-1. And then they score again, 3-1. Thanks to Onana, which raises a point that's very interesting. Yes, we're going to talk about De Gea. Onana makes a horrible mistake going out for a cross that was going to nobody. There was no danger in that cross. And granted, when a keeper decides he's going out for a cross, he has to get it. And sometimes, there's no immediate danger, and they still have to go out and get it. But in this case, there was no immediate danger. And he just drops the ball, really, and pushes it into Jorginho, which capitalizes on it. And this raises the question, United treated De Gea like absolute trash. The dude ended up without a team, nowhere to train, free agent, drop, blah, blah, blah. All this for Onana, which I heard the joke today. They say he's a vampire because he's afraid of crosses. That's funny. I never heard that joke before. In any case, in the 83rd minute, which is already late, so I see like little shadows of Chelsea and a lot of things happening there, but you guys are way worse off than we are right now. And, Xerxes for Højlund, which fine. I don't see that like-for-like change. I don't think Xerxes was out of legs, and I think he was doing a good job. Again, he wasn't getting the service. And then Anthony for Mazraoui, which that one kind of makes sense. And then Brighton towards the end, Estupiñán for Lamptey, which makes me think they were going to play in behind Diallo on the counter. But there wasn't enough time. The match was really completely under control, in my opinion. And they just held out. So, in conclusion, some things that I'm noticing in many modern teams, and things that I can see that I suffer with at Chelsea that I don't like, and I see other places, which is, Mourinho used to say, you build a team back to front, and Fergie was all about dominating the midfield, both of those coaches, for example, and we're seeing that a lot. Yes, there's fast play and all these things in modern football, but all those transitions, we always hear in transition, the press and transition in modern football, it all happens in midfield. So, dominating the midfield is important, especially at home, and especially being a team like Manchester United at Old Trafford. You should control the matches, you should have the midfield. And same thing goes to Chelsea. There's no point in Chelsea's case having all this attacking that if in transition you can't hold the midfield because you only have one DM. And in the case of United, you're just not there. And in desperation, it seems like you move Bruno around as the changes go. He's playing on wide, then you put him in the middle. You took out the 2 DMs to try to come back in the game, and you did it really late. Especially taking out Ugarte and Menu, and then trying to shift bringing this Collier, which I don't know, to be honest, how good he is. He wasn't going to have enough time to prove or show anything. And then Bruno dropped in the middle to try to make something happen, which feels desperate and really sad. I just don't think you guys have the players right now in being in transition. And then the other thing is that these modern coaches, including Amorim, are very focused on building the systems without having the right players for it, regardless, without adapting what they have. And coaches like Tuchel, Conte, Mourinho, and even Ancelotti now. Our player, especially Ancelotti, he adapts to what he has, and look at the successes he had. So it's a different style of coaching, and I think that comes from like the Pep Guardiola inheritance. But there's two variables that people forget about that. Is that it's not even a Pep Guardiola thing. It's a Cruyff thing. It's a Cantera La Masia thing. That they've been working with a certain style of play for 20 years probably. And they're preparing not only their players that they have, and they're building on an enormous team. And in the case of Guardiola later in his further teams, he already has the best team in the world. He already has the best players in the world, and he's adding on top of it. So being system forced, at best case, what you'll achieve is some Brighton levels. Like that's the highest thing you're aiming for there, really. But I know where you are. And it's really tough for United to get out of it. It's sad. Today Goldberg was saying, and he's right. It took 30 years for Liverpool to get the hell out of there. It took forever. Arsenal still trying to get out of there. It doesn't look like they're going to. So it's really tough. But again, I'm not a Man United fan at all. I'm a Chelsea fan. But I do want to see that team back. They have a huge amount of fans all over the world, and we'd like to see them do well and want to see that fight. They should be fighting a little bit further up, and I'm hoping Chelsea steps up as well. So hopefully we will find ourselves in a fight for top 4 or for a championship in the next few years. But you guys have a lot of work to do. So you Manchester United fans, that's what I want to know. What do you think it's going to take? And is it even possible for Amorim to do something? Being realistic, you guys are not going to go into, you're already seeing in this transfer window, what do you think that in January, given the new PSR rules and all this, you're going to go and buy 5 elite level players? That's not going to happen. In another note, Mourinho was mistreated in United, in my opinion. And, he did very well with the team, but he brought silverware. And when he was interviewed years later, he said the main problem at that time with United was not about what players he wasn't given that he wanted to come in the team, but what players he was not allowed to get rid of. And that speaks to maybe culture and mentality in the team. And we know now that there's even that the stadium floods and there's leaks and all this kind of stuff. And everybody trashed Cristiano Ronaldo for raising these things. And look, that guy without service, look what he did. He was still an elite striker. And you guys want an elite striker. What is an elite striker going to do in United if he gets one chance provided to him per game? Not much. So there's a lot more work to do there than you probably think or want. But anyway, again, I wish you guys luck. I hope to see you at the top someday. And it was an entertaining game to watch. I'm always happy to watch Estupiñán, Ecuadorian. I have an Ecuadorian heritage to watch Ecuadorian players doing well in the Premier League. And then, as always, everybody have a great week. I'm going to do the match now. I have to check out what City's going to do against Ipswich because they're playing Chelsea. I'll be happy to continue to do reviews of not only the Chelsea matches but others for you. And that way you Manchester United fans in this example could get an unbiased opinion from a non-psychotic fan of how we see things from the outside. It might help with some perspective. So, everyone, just enjoy what's left of the weekend. One game left, and then on the Monday game for Chelsea. And everybody have a good week.